Okay, hello, welcome back to this episode of The Beth Effect. I'm your host, Beth Clifford. I have my husband with me today. Say hi, Brad.
Hello, everybody.
He's with me because today's episode is actually on like the very realistic and humbling journey of parenthood. And I mean, I feel like you're in it with me.
Tag team.
Since you are the father of my children. Yeah. So you're here with me. But before we get started, I just want to say thanks to Elevation Health. Also, you are the CEO of Elevation Health and keeping me healthy and honestly sane through all parenthood. So thanks. Anything you want to add?
No. We're helping parents stay sane across America.
Well, yeah. And I just think, honestly,
and more active.
You dream of like peaceful moments, like as an adult.
We're getting right into it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, you just, I have all my notes. Brad's not seen them. I'm just going to lead him through it. But like, I love being online because I think that there are a lot of like unhinged parents out there that make us not feel alone. But the reality is when you think you're getting into it, and then when you actually get into it, and you're like, oh wow.
You mean like before you become a parent,
yeah.
thinking what life will be like? Oh, okay.
And then you get into it, and you're like, haha.
Good times.
Like I was lied to.
Yeah.
But before we get into this episode, I do actually want to say, like, we absolutely love and adore our children.
Yes.
And feel very lucky to be their parents. So
and they're great kids.
And they are great kids. But like, there are just some things about parenthood that I would just like to shed some light on. You know, number one is what a humbling journey it's been for me.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah. It's a humbling experience. Yeah.
When not we, because you didn't get pregnant. When I got pregnant, I also disliked that as well. Can you stop saying we?
I 100% agree.
We are pregnant. We are with child. No, one of us is. One of our bodies is getting destroyed. Yeah. One of us looks like an orangutan 9 months pregnant.
I don't agree with that, but I remember you saying that every time, and it's.
I remember at 9 months pregnant, sitting cross-legged on the floor because I couldn't stand. I was out of breath, blow drying my hair. And just my belly cross-legged with just like my boobs resting on my belly, out of breath. And I just remember looking at myself in the mirror and being like, this ain't right.
I never felt that way.
I look like an orangutan.
But this is great.
And I also had a very concerning spray tan at the time.
I actually do remember that. Yeah.
So it really did look like it wasn't right. It was like red. I looked red.
Yeah, that was back in the day. Was I still spraying you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Brad used to spray tan me.
And you were going through like the heavy tones those days. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
like a heavy cognac.
Yeah. Like a strong coffee. A strong coffee black color. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like no one really prepares you for it. And everyone keeps saying, oh, you're going to miss this. You're going to miss this. This is the best stage, or like, drink it up. And we're out of that stage now. And I can confidently say I don't miss it.
The being pregnant part?
Being pregnant, the newborn
stage. I know
stage.
You don't. I don't miss it at all. The only thing I miss is when our kids would fall asleep on us when they were tiny little things. But other than that, like, don't miss anything.
We were young. I was 26 when we got pregnant with our first. You were 28. In lots of ways, we really didn't know what we were doing because social media was like, it just wasn't what it is now. Now I see a lot of like first time mothers on TikTok and Instagram posting, first of all, gender reveal parties.
Yeah, I still don't know where that started from.
It's a party where people figure out what the gender is, Brad.
Oh, you mean like life?
No, like they have like a balloon or a cake or something and they like cut it open or pop it.
I don't get the people.
Yeah, well, we just found out an ultrasound.
I know.
Like peasants.
Yeah. You did a gender reveal with me. Psyched me out with Penn.
Oh, third, I told him it was a girl again.
Yeah.
I was like, just kidding. But I actually specifically remember when I was driving. But again, it was like we were not at that stage. But particularly on TikTok, I see people, I've seen a couple of influencers being like, here I am picking out my nursery colors. And, one of them was saying, I'm getting Ralph Lauren wallpaper for my nursery. And I thought, thinking back of our kids in their nursery, it was like actually a war zone. Like, what are you doing buying designer wallpaper? Our kids smeared poo.
All three.
all 3 of them ripped off diapers in their sleep and smeared poo all over the walls, all over their cribs.
I can't remember how many countless times I had to go in there and spend hours decaking out,
disinfecting that. When Penn finally was out,
I'm surprised
of his
we didn't
crib,
just throw them away.
Well, because we kept having kids.
Well, no, that too. But also, I think it was an heirloom, right? Didn't we give that away to someone else? No, we threw that away, didn't we?
We went through 2 cribs.
But it came from someone.
Brad, we didn't just throw it away. When Penn was out of his crib, I took a sledgehammer to it.
Yeah.
There was no upset feelings. Oh no, the crib's gone. It was like, I'm destroying this. I had so much resentment for how many times I had to like disinfect it. I don't know. That's one thing. The humbling side of parenthood is how much you have to deal with poo. What? So when I see these beautiful nurseries being made, and all I can think about was like, I was fighting for my life in these rooms.
It was like war zone in there, yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
But I mean, good for them. They have like good babies. Ours are just savage.
Yeah, all 3.
All 3 of them. Duct tape. We did the backwards pajamas.
Onesies so they couldn't get out of them.
Yeah, like we did the zip ups with like this. Like, I mean, I think at one point we did like safety pin them.
I know we duct taped them.
They are Houdini. They got out of them.
Shit
all
everywhere.
3 of them.
Yeah.
Those were some awful times. You could smell it before you saw it. But yeah, I just think that it's just not as glamorous as you think it would be in those young years. And even now, I think it's still a bit humbling with the kids at the ages that ours are, which are like 10, 8, and 6. Like they constantly like to kind of like point out your imperfections, like when you smell, or like when your butt wobbles when you walk, or like, what do you think's been like the most humbling part of like the parenthood journey?
It's a good question. I don't know. I mean, you're hitting with these questions right now. Probably I think the most humbling thing for me right now is how I know I'm going to not get it right, which is okay, and I've come to terms with that because I don't think anyone gets it right.
Yeah.
But that my behaviors and actions as a dad will set kind of the unconscious frameworks and some of the traumas of their future selves. And so instead of one thing, I think we've both we are both aware of this. And so I think the thing that we have gotten right is not trying so hard to be perfect, but trying really hard to show them that we're not perfect and set, like when we do things wrong or I say something wrong, I think the most humbling part is that when you can say to your child, like, hey, dad didn't handle this well, or dad, made a mistake in this. And I hope you understand, like, it has nothing to do with you. And has everything to do with me. And
yeah.
So I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Because I am more concerned with them learning that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to be perfect than me pretending, which I think a lot of parents do. And
some.
I think a lot of them do, where they pretend and they just kind of like don't address their own imperfections because they're worried that the parent-child dynamic won't be established. But I'm not looking to be their friend, and I can still parent hard. But I'm more concerned that I don't set them up with like unconscious beliefs that there's something wrong with them because a behavior they intuitively see in their dad is not right in the moment. And me not just brushing it under the rug, but being like, hey, when dad said the F word, on the street that one time, that's not like what
wasn't
you
one
should be
time.
doing.
I actually, I mean, that was a very profound and long way of saying what I would say is that like kids start to mirror you.
Yeah.
Like monkey see, monkey do. And that, I think that is so humbling when you see that you can't hide from it when you see like, so for example, our youngest Penn, like use the F word at school. He's in kindergarten. I mean, easily could point the finger at either of us on that.
Yeah.
At different moments. And so we had to have a chat with him and be like, hey, you can't use these words until you're 18. We use them, but like you shouldn't be using them because it's a swear word. So then per his teacher, he actually just started spelling it out at school was just spelling F-U-C-K instead. And then when I told him, hey, I got a call, principal called again. And he said, well, you didn't say I couldn't spell it. And I think that's just like, that's one of those hard things. We're just like, okay, you're like, yes, you can't be no one's perfect. And even when you're trying to be perfect, your imperfections and your behavior show up in your children. Like, we're in that stage now. We weren't when the kids were little. It was like, you know, literally like cleaning up shit everywhere. Now it's more of like, where did you learn that? Or have you ever seen them mimic being on the phone?
Yeah, it's hilarious because they all mimic you.
Or like they are texting like dad.
Yap.
I mean, I do yap on the phone, but they'll either be like texting like dad, or they'll be like imitating me on the phone, or voice noting. But I do think it is really hard. It's not hard, but it's just humbling when you're faced with that.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about my language, and then making sure that I don't they don't think that I think that I'm perfect. Yeah. Establishing that, because I think from there they can be more flexible with the things and be like, hopefully grow up and be like, you know what, my dad always admitted he wasn't perfect, and now I realize like, oh, in that moment that I thought like hurt me or whatever, I now at least like it's not like highly traumatic because I can work through it. Whereas when you're rigid and you just act like nothing's a problem in your behavior, which, I mean,
or you're never sorry.
I think that, that's where a lot of the later on in your adult life trauma or unraveling some of the bad patterns or programs that you believe in start from anyway, because you're like, had a belief that like this was normal and I'm wrong. Yeah. And I'm abnormal. So I know that's more of a profound thing, but that's honestly the most humbling part. That's all I care about, is making sure that our kids have high belief systems, and then know that we're imperfect, and then they can have the capability of working through things when they realize later on in life that dad or mom was not perfect at that thing.
Oh my gosh. Not perfect at most things. And honestly, I do think there's like, as parents, there have been two things as they're getting older and understanding our tendencies too. Like they're figuring us out pretty fast. Like there are two kind of like non-negotiables that we have with them. And the first is to like keep your word. Like, so more like from our standpoint, like if we say, hey, you are grounded if you do this again, and then they do it again, you have to hold the line. And it is so hard. And I have canceled many a birthday party for them. I'm the bad cop.
No, you're more rigid.
I'm so strict on that.
Like, yeah, I think I'm probably worse.
you are a little bit more of a pushover on that. But I actually remember growing up, like when my mom would say, oh, you'll be in trouble. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, right. Like I could talk her out of it. I mean, I didn't like it when she got mad at me, but I always knew whatever she threatened, I could like negotiate my way out of it. If my dad said, you are grounded, you are not going out, like there was nothing I could do. Like it was basically an ironclad contract. So when my dad like told me, Beth, you need to go do this, I instantly went and did it, because I knew what would happen if not. I knew that he would keep true to his word. But there's a story I have to share with like our middle child is so lazy when it comes to chores.
Oh, incredibly.
Like rolling around the floor thinking that we're asking her to bite her leg off when she has to put her laundry away or whatever. And it also kind of the story actually ties into the second one, which we have, which is like no lying. Like your punishment is less if you don't lie. Oh, yeah. And so there was a time where someone, we didn't know who, had written in marker.
Oh my God. This is a good story. You didn't tell me.
In our brand new house.
Yeah.
Someone, unnamed, had gone into the closet and written a name on the closet wall in permanent marker.
Of one of the kids.
And so, of course, it was actually like our son's name. We were like, damn it, pen.
Yeah.
Like you wrote in permanent marker, and he's swearing up and down it wasn't him. The girls are swearing up and down it wasn't him. And we were like, someone is lying. So like the punishment is going to be worse because someone here is lying. Like, who is lying to us? And like tears, no one would admit. And then finally you go, okay, here's what we'll do. Whoever tells us who it is, once we know, we can all go out and get ice cream. So our middle child is like, okay, it was me.
Yeah.
And you go, that's it, you're grounded. She's like, well, can we go get ice cream now? And you go, and I'll never forget, Brad goes, no, I lied to you. How does it feel?
She got played.
So upset.
She got so pissed.
She got so upset, but that has just been like, oh no, she got grounded and she didn't get ice cream.
No.
But it was the only way to find out who had written on that.
Yeah, gosh.
And she'd written her brother's name.
All right, guys.
Okay. All right, you got me.
You got me.
It was me.
Yeah, let's go get ice cream.
Yeah, let's go get ice cream now. All's forgiven. It was me. Let's go.
Yeah.
Brad's like, we're not getting ice cream. I will not. She's like, oh.
She was shocked.
She was like, you lied to me. And you're like, how does it feel? And her face was just like.
Yeah, lessons.
It's just one of those things, because we mess up a lot, but as parents, so that's the one thing where I'm just like, the lying about it is worse than what you've actually done.
Yeah, but are you going to tell any stories of how our kids like tell us the truth?
Well, I mean, do you have any? I only had the one where they lied. Do you have any top of mind? They do tell the truth.
That's so funny.
They do tell the truth more
though.
often,
like,
though. They tattle on themselves pretty well.
The same child has told us things that for her are really hard.
Yeah.
And we absolutely have lessened the punishment. And that's one thing that I think that we do right as parents. Going back to like the monkey see, monkey do. Like if I am an imperfect person and I can apologize and expect my kids to forget or hope that my kids forgive me.
Yeah.
I want to set the same precedence for them when there are things on the line for them as kids. So like when all of our kids know that if they do something wrong or there's something like complicated, they know and they feel safe and they trust us. I think all three trust us at this point with this.
Yeah.
That if they tell us the truth, they know they're going to get in trouble, but they know that it's going to be way less. And we'll outline that. Like we'll be completely honest about it. And
we always say like, we'll help you out with it. Like whatever it is, we'll help you out with it. But I tell them I can't help you if I don't know what's going on. Yeah. I mean, not to get too like philosophical or deep, but like I think. But here we go as he nosedives. Not me. Here I am talking about like wiping shit off a crib, and Brad's hitting us with like aristocracies. Oh man, is that? No, we've already done this. This bit's already been done. I keep forgetting. What is the real one? Aristotle. Whatever. And Socrates, which you've combined for some reason. Aristocracies. Come on, hit us with it, Brad. Let's get deep. No, it's not overly deep, but I mean, ultimately, us as humans, we all crave two things: safety, which can be boiled down to trust, and also like love and respect. So, I think that when our kids learn that we respect them enough to listen to them, and then they'll get our trust when they tell us the truth. I think like establishing those norms are more important. But then they can trust that they're going to have a lesser punishment, or they're, you know what I mean? So like, I think those lenses are just really important for me as like a dad, to make sure that my kid knows, any three knows that if they come to me, no matter what, if they tell me the truth and they are, respecting of the situation and trying to make it right of themselves, the other person, and us, that it's going to be a way better scenario for them, which is, I think, a life lesson. I actually think that I'm really good at like, keeping my word to them. And you are really good at being calm when they tell you something. And I have to really work on that, to not instantly this urge of when they tell you something and you just know so many errors were made. And it is so hard for my personality not to try and correct them along the way and just listen and be like, oh, I'm sorry you're going through that. Instead of being like, okay, here's what were you actually thinking though? Like, it's so hard not to parent all the time. Yeah. Like for me. And I think for you, it's like easier to love all the time and maybe a little bit harder to like turn like the parenting on. Yeah. Well, maybe. I don't know. I just threw that out there. I could be wrong. I get a lot of practice with you. Thank you. Okay, so like, where am I on my notes here? All right, learning and growing through parenthood. What have been the biggest things that like you have learned? Or I should say actually like just like you've grown into like some skill sets or some kind of self-awareness through parenthood. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, well, I can tell you what's the hardest thing for me right now.
All right. Yeah, that's it. It's a
I'm
journey.
aware on it and aware of it, and I know that I'm trying to work on it. Is more so than ever, my attention is stolen because I'm actively doing something that I feel like personally only, and it's just a feeling. It's not even real all the time. I constantly need to be having attention to it with my business. And so because of that, I'm aware that most children need just undivided attention. They don't need like theatric experiences.
Yeah.
And so I'm working actively at this point right now to make sure that I make eye contact, that I listen, that my phone is so not involved, even when there are things that I'm thinking about and like needing to get done with it.
Yeah, just the distractions of it,
because
the phone.
They don't need, an hour like crazy event thing. What they need is like actual focused, like listening time, my energy. That's really what they need. Yeah. So that's something that I'm aware of that I'm working on, and it's really tough for me as a dad. But I know it's what like all three of our kids need. And when I give it, I'm very aware of the difference. Like when like Lydia wants to have long dialogue.
Oh yeah.
Our oldest now, and she's at that time of life. And Penn just wants to regurgitate like every small thing that happened because he's so stoked. But the fact that I'm just listening to him is like the greatest thing ever for him.
And you're mirroring his excitement as he tells you, because his attention span is not as long either.
No,
like he'll get
it out quick.
He doesn't need you for like.
But Lydia does want to spend time with me, and she wants to talk to me, and she wants to like feel my energy and attention to her. And so, it's tough. It's tough right now.
I read somewhere that the louder your kids are, like the safer their home environment is. Like kids feel.
I saw that too. I have no idea if it's like founded on anything.
If they're lying to me,
we're screwed.
Like I'm going to flip tables, because that has been that's my big. Every stage is different. When we had little kids, the biggest challenge for me was like sleep and rest. Like it was really hard to feel rested. Now I feel rested fine, but I find that the constant noise is really difficult for me. Like there's, distractions in the day with work, and then the kids come home and it's loud and they're fighting. And even if they're laughing loudly or playing loudly,
it's like stimulation fatigue.
I'm overly stimulated all the time. So I so badly want to believe this random thing that I'm seeing on like, hey, loud kids just means that they're happy and they can be free. But I'm struggling with like the noise level. I am. It's just really hard to be patient with it, particularly because the noise in our home, it's not throughout the day. We work throughout the day. It's at home. It's typically when we're the most tired after the end of our day, right? And we're racing around doing carpool. So and I know then when we have teenagers, it will be different. Like they won't be in the home as much. I know that parents of teenagers are listening to this laughing at us because we have no idea. Just like I feel that way with parents of toddlers a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then I'm sure that parents of adult kids are laughing. I know that every stage has its thing, but right now I feel very challenged with noise level. And then I also feel quite challenged, if I'm honest, with just like how I feel sporting like camps, teams, whatever they call it, are robbing me.
Oh yeah, but that's we could do a podcast.
I'm not going to do a podcast on that, but we're just like in that stage where all three of them, like even if they're just doing one, but some of them do a couple of, I just feel like I'm being robbed of my time, sanity, and money by these children's sports teams, and it ain't right. And so I think noise and that, it all comes down to my patience is being robbed. You're being robbed of my patience.
For sure. You're being tested for sure.
Like a thief in the night. They're robbing me.
All right.
of that. So, but just really.
Was that the question though? Like what
I
has...
remember. What was my question? Learning and growing through parent. Yeah, it's honestly teaching me to just
Patience.
take a deep breath, and like, even if I'm having, like, at work right now, there's at work and in our personal lives, there is so much going on. I feel like I'm drowning every day. All things positive, but it's a lot. And so I mentally will be fatigued, and then I'll pick them up from school and everyone's got a story and everyone's loud in the car and like the music's playing and it is teaching me patience to be like, I should be thrilled that they want to tell me this stuff. I should be thrilled that they're playing with each other. I should be thrilled that the kids are coming here to play. I should be thrilled. Like, I should be thrilled at the noise and the life that is around me at this stage of life with our children. And I am. But in moments, I want to stab my eyes out.
Yeah, but
I think that's just me being honest. Like, it is really difficult sometimes in the moment, particularly when all I want to do is sit in absolute solitude.
Yeah, and veg
with the
out,
lights off.
because that's like really important to you.
Yeah,
Is
it's really hard.
solitude and recharge. Yeah,
Yeah.
But I'll commend you. I mean, I think that more so than ever as a parent, you're probably the most patient I've ever seen you. So I think there is a commendable aspect.
Well, thanks.
Of that
I
in your growth.
feel the complete opposite. I feel like I'm at wit's end, but
You're probably just more aware of it.
here we are, just, fighting through it. So, well, yeah, as we wrap this up, Brad, what?
Is that it?
Yeah.
There are more
we're-
questions.
No. We're 26 minutes.
Oh,
Just,
dang.
Here we are, just banging on
Banging
about
on, yappity
parenthood.
yap.
Yapping, like you always make fun of me for doing. It's like, what have I got written here? Yeah, so just embracing the imperfections and the reward of parenthood. I think one of my biggest things I will say is I tend to lean on the comedic side of parenthood to get me through. I tend to lean on that anytime that I think something's difficult. And I always joke, like when you go through something hard at work, like your team's close because you're trauma bonded. Like when when you go through, it's not that parenthood is just like war. It's not that, but it just is shocking how much it takes out of you.
Yeah.
But it just is shocking.
Yeah.
And we have 3.
Yeah. I think the big thing is like we realize real quickly we're not perfect. But one lens that I look through too as like, this is going to get philosophical again. Is it okay?
Oh,
I'll
Brad,
take 2 minutes.
No, not 2.
1?
30 seconds.
Is kind of the difference between mentor and king. And like some parents generationally kind of establish like a child-parent relationship, like I'm the boss and everything goes, right? And I've witnessed those relationships as they evolve into adulthood, not that great. And so I kind of it's just kind of like with teams. I mean, this is like that servant leader, right? It's kind of like I want to establish, obviously we are their guardians.
Yeah.
We're in charge of, especially until they're 18.
Of course.
Comes with its own set of rules.
And
totally get it.
Teaching children respect and discipline. Like, I agree with
you know
you.
what I'm
It's
saying?
not like what I say goes, but at the same time, there's nothing worse than being around a naughty child.
No, right. And so the framework, that's what, because people say you aren't your kids' friends. You're their parent. I agree with that. But when you say, well, what kind of parent is best? That's what I think gets missed here is like it's black and white when it should be more nuanced and gray. And so the nuance that I look at it from is that mentor lens is I want my kids to respect me, obviously the framework of me being their guardian, but also I want them to want to come to me for life advice and want to look for that wisdom that you and I have experienced because we're open about those imperfections and the mistakes that we made.
Yeah.
But also the things that we have gotten right that they can validate by observing it, that we've gotten those things right, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that that's when, as you break into adulthood with your children, it becomes more fun.
But I get
you
what
get
you're
I'm
saying, though. Yes, I think, but it's a really hard balance. And there's times where what your child needs as a newborn is different from what your child needs at 3 years old, which is different from what your children need, like in art, like elementary school, which is different from junior high. I mean, all of the stages, it's about adapting to it. And I do think that there are times where you expect certain things from certain children and then they'll come home. Like our eldest is like very sweet and very loving. But then sometimes, as she's now probably going to be hitting puberty sometime soon, there are times you're just like, where did that come from?
Well, let's
and
talk,
you're like,
talk about today, where she's usually pretty calm, and then she's like got mad at her sister, and she's like, "You idiot!" in front of like the whole pool, right?
Swimming pool.
And so instead of me being like spanking her butt and rushing her off to a room and being like, "I'm the king," right?
Yeah.
I said, I mean, you heard it.
Yeah.
She immediately waddles out because now I need to talk to her.
Tries to come out of the pool,
right? Because I'm her father. But then when I talk to her, I reason with her.
Yeah.
Like, what would it be like if I just yelled in front of everybody, "You freaking idiot"? How would that make you feel? And she's like, "Not good," like. And then I'm like, "Well, how about if Buzzy did that to you in front of everybody?
You just embarrass your sister in front of the whole pool."
The whole pool. And she's like, "Okay, I see it." And then she sits there and she like meditates on it.
She sulks for a second,
instead of me being like, "You don't ever do that," what I mean, or like that type of parenting, right? Which is it's aggressive and it's kind of like this dictatorship. I don't want that. I want them to understand and be able to rationalize with me through it, but also hold the line. They need to know, Anyways, that's kind of, and again, we're not perfect. I'm just playing with that energy.
No, I think that my advice is either with your spouse or with a good friend, like vent often throughout parenthood. Like on the hard days, which you'll have, call your friend and vent it out. On the fun days, you're just like, what is going on? Laugh about it. Like, I think there's safety in numbers, and there's not one person out there that's got it all figured out. Absolutely not. Even, and we're doing this because it's like Mother's Day today, actually, while we record this, soon to be Father's Day. And I actually am going to do a sequel podcast with our girls where I'm going to like kind of interview them and get their take on stuff. But even tonight at our Mother's Day dinner, you're like, "Oh, what do you love about mom?" And Lydia's like, "One thing I love about mom is how honest she is. Like when she told me there's no way she let me do her nails because I'm not a professional and she doesn't want her nails to look bad."
So funny.
I'm like, "Yeah, I did." You looked at me, you're like, "Did you say that?" And I was like, "I did say that, yeah." Mm-hmm. There's no way I'm letting her do my nails.
Lydia was like, also, it wasn't, she didn't take it as rude though. She started explaining the rationale.
She loved it.
She's like, because why would mom want to learn or why would mom, how did she say it? She's like, because I shouldn't be learning on just mom's nails. I should be learning on other things first. Like she had rationalized through it instead of it just being mean. You know what I mean?
Like, well, she asked me, "Can I do my nails?" I said, "Absolutely not." And I said, "The only person I let do my nails is a professional." And she was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Well, I can't be walking around with like nails hanging off." And she was like, "Oh, I get it," And she's like, "Maybe I can practice and do." And I'm like, "No,
not on mine, but other places,
on your friends, I'm sure."
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
and that was months ago, and she'd remembered it.
Yeah,
so I feel bad,
life
but
lessons.
Not really,
No, but you're giving her actual feedback.
Yeah. So, basically, to sum up, we're doing the best we can. I don't think when each stage is over, you miss it. Like, I'm always like, "Oh, we did it, high five." But I will say, as I like scroll through my phone, old memories, I am shocked at how fast the time goes. And never thought I would say that because there was a stage of parenthood where time stood still.
Yeah.
And, you just would like cry when they would wake up from naps, and you just like lived for those times when you could put them down for a nap and like, an early bedtime. And now I just feel like time's flying by and I'm really trying to enjoy it, but I'm also living off caffeine and a prayer. What about you?
I have more recently than ever in the last year just tried to soak up moments than ever before in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. This is even the last year of our children in the same school. Mm-hmm. We've got 1 year and it's almost over. I've got 3 weeks left of it. And there are moments where I'm just like, this is the best. I wish I could freeze these ages. And then there are moments where I'm like, can't wait to have them out the house, And I guess what I want to say to people listening is just because you're struggling some days, it doesn't make you a bad parent.
And also just because you saw a 90-second clip on social media of perfection doesn't make you a bad parent too.
Slow motion dancing and stuff and you're actually living in chaos. Maybe you're in the middle of like
Wiping
cleaning
off
up shit off the walls,
Yeah.
like, and you're watching other people picking out Ralph Lauren, and you're like, number one, can't afford that. Number two, I'm in the thick of it. I'm living with mac and cheese crusted in my hair, and I'm tired.
Or your teenage kids is sneaking out of your house and
or doing things you
making out
never
with
thought they would
do.
do.
You know, their boyfriends or girlfriends and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest takeaway, is that like it is really humbling and no one has it all figured out. And honestly, I think we're all in this together. And unless you're actually a bad parent, and those of you know who you are, if you're even wondering if you're a bad parent, you're a good parent.
Yeah.
Like,
you're trying.
you're
Yeah.
trying. And that's really all you can do. So I just really want to wish like my listeners a happy belated Mother's Day, and let them all know that I think you're doing great, sweetie, and to keep it up. And then also all of the fathers out there, in whatever form it looks like, you're also doing great. I think we're all just surviving and thriving aristocracies. Anything you want to add before we wrap up?
Yeah, please. I'm going to have to help you with this one.
Just let me have it.
No. So bad.
Aristocracies, you heard it here.
No.
Well, we'll be back next week. A couple of podcasts I just want to touch on before we wrap this one up. I will be recording a podcast with the girls, my girls, and kind of like quizzing them on childhood. I also will be recording with Mio, the self-defense expert, this week as well. So that one is coming out. Things to look forward to in May. Both of those are coming out in the upcoming weeks. For behind the scenes for the Beth Effect, please follow me at Instagram, which is at the Beth Clifford, and TikTok at the Beth Clifford. Please like, subscribe, share these episodes if you like them. Brad, where can they find you?
At Brad_Clifford, and then our company at Elevation Health on Instagram.
Perfect. Well, thank you for coming this week. We'll be back next week. We'll see you then.